Hello, ma'am. Usually I assault people who even kind of look at me weird, but your legs make my brain go awooga. Would you like to
Finally, a bigger loser than Reptile.
Why do you do this to me? Why?
Kano was solely created to lose, and I'm not joking. Throughout the entire series, Kano has no wins, not one single W. He mostly exists to get pegged by Sonya, and that's the truth. Even so, players love Kano. No, seriously, he's really popular in the Mortal Kombat community. And if you've played the games or even seen the movies, you know why. His charisma is impossible to resist, and his Terminator face is cool too. Also, for some games, he's really hot. For like no reason. No, like seriously, why? Oh my god. Yeah, Kano has fans despite being the biggest loser in the series. And that's no exaggeration, by the way. You can argue with the wall if you want to, but Kano statistically is the biggest loser. The numbers are there. It's undeniable. So today, let's rank Kano in every single game based on his role in the story. Sometimes he dies, sometimes he gets captured, but always he's losing in spectacular fashion. Even so, leave a like down below for Kano because we all love him deep down. And maybe today's video can be the first win for Kano. He's gonna get 2,000 likes. Wouldn't that be awesome? Then for anyone new, I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, and I think we can do it. So if you enjoyed today's video, smash that red button and ring that bell so you never miss any future content. Alright everyone, without any further ado, let's begin. Or better yet, hello baby, let's get started. Alright, here we go, the first Mortal Kombat game. Kano enters the tournament, though it's unclear which side he's fighting for. In some games it's retconned into him working for the bad guys, but in the original game he was fighting for Earthrealm. Then on top of that, Kano's the reason Sonya goes to the island. She's actually chasing after him because he's a wanted criminal. Also, I think he betrayed the special forces as a double agent or something like that. Regardless, Kano is the reason that Sonya goes to the island to compete in the tournament, so that's kind of a big deal. However, Kano himself doesn't do too much. He ends up getting captured, but before that helps fight Goro alongside Sonya and Johnny Cage. And originally I was gonna put him in the captured tier, but the Fort Snake said that was unfair since he technically gets captured at the start of MK2. In the first Mortal Kombat, he's just kind of existing. Then for the next game, Kano does nothing because he's captured the entire time. However, for a fun fact, you can see him in the background chained up by Shao Kahn in the final stage. So that's kinda neat. Fast forward to Mortal Kombat 3. This game, Kano helps Shao Kahn invade because he's diabolical like that. That's right, I said it, diabolical, the most popular word on YouTube right now. I blame more Pegasus, but also love his content, watching every day. I digress. Originally, Kano died in this game at the hands of Sonya Blade. That's right, she fought him on a rooftop and then tossed him over the building, which later on got retconned into him surviving, but originally he was confirmed dead, so that's how I'm ranking it in today's video. Kano dies in Mortal Kombat 3. Then for Mortal Kombat 4, Kano is missing and presumed dead. Instead, we have Jarek, who's a terrible knockoff and should never return. But oh boy, today I get to mention a video which has so far been absent in the entire series. That's right, it's a first. Special Forces. This game has Jax as the main character, and after the recent launch of the Legacy Collection, more and more people have played this terrible game and confirmed, yes, it's pretty bad. Not only is it unfun to play, but the levels are a maze and very easy to get lost without a guide, so it's frustrating and time wasting. All that said though, Kano is the main villain in this game. Yeah, Kano is one of the only jobbers in the entire series to be a main villain in a Mortal Kombat game, so he's got that going for him. Yeah, for this one game, Kano goes in the big deal category. Next up is Deadly Alliance, where Kano is serving Quan Chi and Shang Tsung after they killed Shao Kahn, presumably. It turns out it was a body double, but for this game, Shao Kahn is dead. And since Kano loves licking boots, he now serves under the killers of his former master. Makes sense, totally in character for him. However, betrayal is also in his character. It's implied that Kano does betray the Deadly Alliance and then runs away, and his destiny is left unclear until Armageddon. With all that said though, researching this game is difficult because some arcade endings are canon while others aren't. In Kano's ending, he steals the amulet and allows him to control the undead army, which he uses to kill Sonya, then he runs away. This ending can't be canon because Quan Chi still has the amulet in the opening of Deception. So yeah, I suppose in Deadly Alliance, Kano is just existing. He doesn't do too too much. Next up is Shaolin Monks, which retells the story of the first 2 games, more or less. Which means Kano does similar stuff. He competes in the first tournament, then ends up captured like Sonya. If you free him, you get a big power up and also have to fight him for some reason. To this day, I'm not sure why Kano would fight in that position. I guess he didn't want to get arrested, which was gonna happen by the special forces, but still they freed you and they're gonna kick your butt if you resist, so why even try to fight them? You're gonna lose, Kano. You're the master of losing. Yeah, fighting Kano is completely optional in this game. He's still a jobber though, and gives you a big power up if you beat him. So as the player, you're incentivized to beat his butt, which I find hilarious. Then for deception, Kano is completely missing outside of conquest mode, but for a fun fact, Kira has his Kano ball, so that's kind of fun. She also has Sonya's poison kiss, and that's because Kira exists solely to have their gameplay, right? If you're a Sonya fan or a Kano fan, Kira is meant to satisfy your urge for their gameplay and moveset. Next up is Armageddon, and in this game, Kano has a pretty funny story. It turns out he got captured off-screen in between games by the Red Dragon, which for anyone unaware is the rival clan of the Black Dragons, and it's ran by Dagon, the evil brother of Taven, who's also a demigod, yada yada yada. Yeah, they captured Kano and apparently are trying to turn him into a lizard-human hybrid, and Reptile is overseeing this whole operation, which I suppose that's the best way he found to try and restore his clan, right? Nobody's gonna revive them. Shinnok said no, which means Reptiles resorted to turning humans into weird lizard hybrids, I suppose, and Kano was the guinea pig. But thankfully he escapes, like the slippery little mongoose he is. Then he speaks to Shujinko for a short bit, then does absolutely nothing. However, MK9 confirms that Kano did die in the final battle of Armageddon. Now it's time for Mortal Kombat vs. DC. I've never actually played this game, so the fourth snake was my consultant. And turns out Kano does a decent amount of stuff in this game. He's the first character to cross over into the DC universe, so that's worth noting. Then his butt gets kicked, because that's Kano's job in every single game. His butt gets kicked by DC characters, then by Mortal Kombat characters, then he gets knocked out in the final battle, and that's about it. However, Sonika XD wanted me to mention how Kano is suddenly just with Sonya and fighting alongside her without any explanation. That's right, the game never explains how these two are suddenly teamed up, it just happens. Anyways, Kano is definitely going in the jobber tier for this game. Fun fact though, this is the only game with Sonya and Kano in it where they don't fight. In every other game it happens, so that's worth noting. Alright, time for the Netherrealm Era, starting off with Mortal Kombat 9, where Kano is peak jobber. It's honestly poetic. He does nothing but engage and lose fights throughout the entire story mode, serving under multiple bosses. At first, he serves Shang Tsung, gets his butt kicked, later on is serving Shao Kahn, gets his butt kicked. It's a tale as old as time. Thankfully for the Kano fans, he never dies or even gets captured in this game. He's just a jobber. Time for Mortal Kombat X. At the very beginning in Chapter 2, Kano's already betraying people. He tries to assassinate Kotal Kahn, which is so stupid. Why does he think he can do this? Kano never wins. Confidence is not always key, my man. Learn your limits. You lose every fight. Why are you fighting a Khan? Anyways, he loses, then later on tries to sneak past Sonya and gets caught and defeated. He only lives because Johnny Cage talks her down. That's right, Johnny Cage of all people is the reason Kano does not die. Later on he gets interrogated for information and confesses. Jobber tier, certified jobber tier in Mortal Kombat X. Despite having amazing gameplay, that's worth noting. In Mortal Kombat X, Kano is so much fun to play. Next up is Mortal Kombat 11. Double the Kano means double the fun. That's right, we get 2 Kanos in this game, which is very funny and entertaining, not gonna lie. However, double Kano also means double the defeat. Both Kanos get bested. In fact, the younger one dies, which kills the present one. They do some fun stuff in between, which is entertaining, but still, they both die in this game canonically, which is funny. Kano manages to die twice at once in the same game, and I don't think any other Mortal Kombat character has pulled that off, at least not in this series so far. Mortal Kombat 11 Kano is going in the dead tier twice. However, real quick, another fun fact, Kano and his double are seen on the wall of the tea house. Yeah, their photo is pinned up on the wall for some reason. There's no explanation and no good reason why they're there. They just are, which is hilarious, but I think a future update removed it, which is so unfortunate. Why, NetherRealm? Why? Finally, we have Mortal Kombat 1. Kano is a cameo. Yep, that's it. And some cameos appear in story mode, but not Kano. He's never actually there. The most we get is some intro dialogues, and that's about it. Which means MK1 Kano is going in this tier. He is simply existing and does nothing whatsoever in story. It's wild. Not even a cutscene appearance. However, get this. Mortal Kombat 1 Liu Kang, the fire god himself, mentions King Kano. That's right, it gets brought up. The best version of Kano, who's the villain of his own movie, right? He created this timeline. He's the main antagonist. Apparently, according to the intro dialogues, that universe is canon. It does exist, which means King Kano gets to go on this tier list at the very top. Oh yeah, baby. For anyone watching who has not seen Snowblind, you need to watch it right now. It's a really good movie. And alright everyone, there you have it. We've ranked Kano in every single Mortal Kombat game and also one of the movies because it's canon. As you can see, Kano loses, gets captured, or dies in every single game. He's never got one W, but even so, he's a winner in our hearts, and that's all that matters. Plus, in the movies, he's the best part. Let's be real, Kano is always one of the most interesting parts of every single Mortal Kombat movie, and nobody can take that from him. He's always fun to watch. Just like today's video. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. It helps the channel out a ton. And then finish that combo by subscribing and ringing that bell so you never miss any future videos. I'm trying to reach 500,000 subscribers before 2026, so let's do it together. Make sure to come back next time, everyone, and as always, stay underdogs.